Well, welcome to our video history. Today I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Keith White. And it's a real honor for me to do this. Keith has been a good friend and a mentor for over 40 years and has had a lot to do with our profession and a lot to do with our college. And so we're about to learn a lot about a gentleman who has had a great impact in his career in obstetrics and gynecology. Keith, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start with you with your background. Where were you born?
In the South Dakota.
South Dakota?
Yeah, Rainier, South Dakota.
Rainier, South Dakota. And did you go to school and college in South Dakota?
No. I was moved as an infant to California, so.
Got warmer out there, right?
Well, I guess I don't remember it too well, but.
So you grew up in California?
Yes, Long Beach.
And did you go to school, college and medical school in Long Beach?
No, I had high school at Long Beach Poly, and I graduated in 1943 from high school and went immediately into the Navy. I had a Navy V-12 program. They'll send you to college in your home state. And I then found out that Texas was part of California. I was sent to the University of Texas Navy and had my pre-med there.
And so you did UT in Austin for pre-med?
For 2 calendar years, yeah. We had to take pretty heavy schedules, I think 20 semester hours.
Oh my goodness.
And then you're limited in medical school applications to 3, 2 in the district you were in at the time. It was, I guess, I had 1 in outside of the district, so I applied to Stanford, California, and Tulane and Baylor and Tulane, really. And
where did you end up going to medical school?
Baylor.
At Baylor.
Yeah.
And were you still in the Navy when you were doing that?
For the first few months, I think in November of 1945, we got mustered out. But the Navy just continued to finish that year.
Yeah. And at what point during your training did you decide that you wanted to become an obstetrician gynecologist?
That was probably my internship.
So after medical school, but your rotating internship.
Yeah.
And what helped make that decision for you?
Well, I was decided that I would intern in a private hospital just to see what medicine was like in a private hospital as contrasted with the teaching institutions, the county hospitals principally. And I was at California Lutheran Hospital in Los Angeles. And the group in OBGYN included Keith Russell, who was later president of the college. Matter of fact, he's the only one who was president twice. He was elected vice president and filled out unexpired terms. And
so where did you end up doing your residency?
At UCLA. Actually, UCLA was using a county hospital, Harbor General Hospital in Torrance, California. And so I took it. Dan Morton was the chief that came down from San Francisco. He was on faculty there.
So was that 4 years or 3 years?
Well, it became 4 years when I started. So I spent my first year there, but I had 2 years doing OBGYN, and that was later. Okay.
Yeah, part of your internship.
Right, yeah.
So when you finished your residency there at UCLA, what did you decide to do?
Again, I didn't decide. I had the Navy decided for me.
The armed forces are like that.
Well, yes, but they've been very good to me. I can't complain. They sent me to medical school, and then had the option of where am I going to go as I had to go back to serve 2 years because they paid me as an ensign during my internship. And so I then got a unique service-related thing in. I was trying to find out where I was going to go. I had finally contacted Naval Bureau personnel, and I had made out my application. I said, since you had said that you would serve with other branches, you've been assigned to the U.S. Air Force. And apparently that was the beginning of the medical department in the Air Force. They had been under the Army until 1950. And so I was assigned to Williams Air Force Base in Chandler, Arizona.
Okay.
Spent 2 years there. Another fellow had just completed his residency in OBGYN came in. He and I opened up an OBGYN service there at Williams Air Force Base. We took all service-dependent OBGYN problems from Phoenix, actually from Yuma to Tucson.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, it turned out to be a busy service. We did, I think, 9 deliveries our first month, something like 25 the second month. And then for 2 years, we averaged 75 deliveries a month, the two of us. So we had a
That was a hopping practice.
Right.
So when you finished your 2-year commitment there, where did you go?
Well, I have to stop and think about that, I guess. Came back to Long Beach and practiced there.
You were in practice for Long Beach for a good while.
Well, yeah, I've missed a couple of years there somewhere, but from 56 to 78, I practiced in Long Beach.
When did you get involved with ACOG?
Well, Keith Russell, I guess, was probably the most important aspect there. He had been my first mentor, and he had me assigned to the college ACM program committee, and that was the beginning of a unique thing for the college. Al Gerby was the chairman of the committee, and that first year was
probably in the 70s.
I before that.
Was it before that?
Yeah.
Because I forget when this Committee for Scientific Program started, but it
But Al had talked to us all by phone before he left Chicago to go to Las Vegas, which was that meeting, so we could look at that up. But when we got there, he called and said, well, I'll come up at his room in the hotel, and he had a big clothing rack. It was full of green jackets. He had asked everybody what size jacket they wore.
Oh my goodness, the original green coats.
That was the original green jackets. I mean, not talking about the masters, we're talking about the college.
Oh, I know, I've got one of those college green jackets. So you were, it was the original scientific program committee.
Yep.
Well, that's exciting.
We got the credit for that.
And so he was the one that came up with the green jacket idea.
Right.
This is Al Gerby that did that. Is that right? Is it Al that did it? Al called you.
Oh yeah, Al. And my green jacket, I think, is the one that the museum has here, because I left it on.
Well, I'm sure it's there. So that was your first activity with the college. What else did you do before you moved to Chicago? We'll get to that in a minute.
Well, that was mostly just private practice. I had served as chief of staff at St. Mary's Hospital, and we opened Women's Hospital in Long Beach. I'm the president of the staff there.
Did you work on any other college committees or any activities like that?
No, it was mostly related to the district meetings, attending with frequency. And
okay. Now, I think, was it Warren Pearce that reached out to you to get you to come to Chicago? Do I remember that correctly?
Well, Warren Pearce was the annual clinical meeting was held in Anaheim in 1977 or 8. And Kamenetsky was president of the college at that time. And that's why I first met the executive board. I had talked with Warren and had been back to Chicago for an interview. Took 3 appointments to get that one in Chicago because Chicago got snowed out. I couldn't get in on 2 occasions, made it on the 3rd.
And so they recruited you to come to work for the college.
Yes, it was a new position that they were beginning to, and I was known as a director of district and section activities. So that was the change that occurred in college at that time, adding another director.
So you went to Chicago in 78.
I think it started July or August of 1978.
Yeah. And then the college moved to DC in 81.
Correct.
So you were part of that transition.
Yes.
Do you remember the discussions about what happened? Why it was decided to bring the college to Washington?
Well, everyone was sort of the opinion that most of the things that were done by the college could be done located with a headquarters anywhere. But the one thing that we had to have was some presence in Washington. We had one director, Irv Nichols, who was director of practice at that time, who was really moved to Washington 2 or 3 years before that to set up the office and prepare for the liaison we would have with government.
One of the things in your job, didn't you have something to do with the junior fellows?
Well, as a matter of fact, I did. I met a fellow there named, what is your name again?
Oh.
But yes, that was probably the most fun activity of what I did with the college was the junior fellows. And but it works.
Yeah, you remember, it's funny, I was just with the Junior Fellow College Advisory Council 2 hours ago.
Okay.
And tell me how you saw that, how you said it was the most fun. Why was it the most fun for you working with them?
Well, because you had young people who were excited about, these were people in training still or just recently out of training before being certified. And so you got the perspective of young folks and how they grew. One thing that the junior fellows, I think, are responsible for is to encourage more women to come into our specialty for obvious reasons.
All right.
And as I look around here now, it's pretty clear that it's worked.
It has worked. There
are lots of.
There are a majority of the members now.
Oh, I didn't even know that, but that's good.
Right. And 82% of our residents are women today.
That's a very marked change from my time.
Yeah, marked change from my time too.
Yeah.
As you saw the college and it moved to DC, and then you were there when they were able to build the building we are now in, the Warren H. Pearce building.
Yes.
How did that, what's your memory of how that all came about?
Well, at that time there were, if you were a non-profit educational organization, there was some federal money available to build because they were trying to get more such entities to be headquartered here in DC. And that was the genesis of it. It made very favorable loans available to build buildings. And the fact that we needed to have some presence here.
And then Jacobs, when J.B. Jacobs helped with when he passed away and his estate was there, they came to help us too, I believe.
Oh, yes. One of our staff at that time, Margaret Goodman, spent a lot of time taking care of Dr. Jacobs.
We just gave Margaret this morning the ACOG Excellence Award.
Well deserved.
Yeah, at the business meeting this very morning. She was there with you in Chicago in 76. She started in 77.
Yeah.
And then came from Chicago to D.C.
Yeah, it was surprising that great percentage of people who worked for us in Chicago, or a good percentage anyway, made the transition. Those who could did.
Almost 30 of them did.
Yeah. There is only one person in my division from Chicago days who didn't move to Washington, D.C., and she was the junior fellow, Representative Lee.
Lee LePay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now when I talk about the history, I talk about Lee LePay was sort of the original mother of the junior fellows.
Correct.
Because she kept us all on the straight and narrow and made sure we did all the right things. And then, of course, that transitioned over to Mary Benneman at some point. I think you hired Mary Benneman.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, my wife at that time hired Mary Benneman. Mary was a real estate agent. Found us a place that we bought in Virginia when we made the move. And she said she was just kind of tired of that. Would like to look for something that might be more steady and reliable. And so
that all worked out. It was a good decision.
It was. She's still here. So.
Very, very good decision. Did the name of the director for district and sections, did that change to the fellowship division while you were still there, or was that after you left?
I think it happened still when I was still at the college.
I think it might have.
Yeah.
But it still had a lot of oversight with the district and sections and of course the membership and all that.
We had the different segments of activity within the college that were part of fellowship, which you pretty much named them.
Yeah.
Professional liability, membership, junior fellows.
Yeah, and I think healthcare economics, if I remember, you created a healthcare economics task force that would lead to the healthcare economics committee, and was it Jock Purcell and Padraig Carney served on that. And was Padraig, did you know him from California?
Oh yes, we practiced in hospitals at the same time. He was a good, strong Irish immigrant who came over here. And he had his training in this country, and he practiced in Long Beach as I did.
And Jack, Al Strunk, I think, was on that too. Jack Graham was on it.
Yes.
Yeah, Jack was on it, and then he would eventually come in and do the fellowship position after you.
Yes, that's true.
It's funny how all these names are just recycled all along. What do you think has been the most important change that you saw in ACOG during your career?
I'm not sure that I can say it's the most important, but most memorable would be two things we already talked about: the move from Chicago to Washington, the encouragement of women, which is obviously successful, as you just pointed out. And those are two of the things that I remember most.
Well, I know that you and your wife Jenny have been very much involved in following ACOG, and that you have just helped us so much recently with the funding for Are You Smarter Than a Junior Fellow, which is going to show up on Monday for the initial Keith and Jenny White Are You Smarter Than a Junior Fellow program, and we really thank you for that.
I can answer the question now.
Can you?
I'm not smarter than a junior fellow. I'm just.
You don't want us to ask you any questions then?
I'm just older.
Okay. And wiser.
Oh, that's a judgment to be made by others, not me.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, we are really honored that you and Jenny saw to do that, and honored that we were able to have you here this afternoon to do this interview so that people know all you have done for the college. And you know this, I am personally most honored to be able to be sitting here doing this with you.
Well,
And you're a special person and a great mentor who's helped a lot of people, including myself. And for the record, I'm thanking you for it, and I appreciate it.
well, probably the other most important thing I can remember is encouraging an application of a certain person to become the executive director of the college, who was my mentee as a junior fellow.
I know that. Keith, we really thank you for everything. You've just been wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you and Jenny.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be with you.
It's my pleasure.
Okay.